Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel, Staying Compliant with KW Advanced Consultant. My name is Keisha Wilson, the founder of KW Advanced Consultant. And so today we're going to be talking about how do we tab our ICD-10 code book. It's a lot of questions that I've been asked recently. And I figured I'd just show you guys just a quick video of how you tab your code book. So, every year, October 1st, we get new codes, new guidelines. And so if you are into the tabbing, then you would constantly be tabbing your code books every year. I do feel at some point in your career, you don't tab as much because you just get so used to where you find certain codes. But until you get to that level of where you're comfortable, you can always tab your code book. So just know that if you're taking any exams, coding exams or anything next year, you're going to need the current year code book. So if you had already tabbed your 2023 ICD-10, 52, 56, just know you're going to have to re-tab your code book to 2022. So you can use any version of the ICD-10. There's AATC. There's also the Optum ICD-10 code book as well that I have here. So it depends on which one you like to use. You can tab. And if you like to use both, you can tab either one. So right now we're going to use for the tabbing purposes the ICD-10-CM expert. This is in 2024, effective October 1st of 2023 through September 30th of 2024. When you open the book, the first thing you're going to see in the cover is the tab section, and it's going to look like this. So you can either use the tab that comes with the code book, or you can purchase your own tab. Amazon has tabs, the colorful ones, you can get them in the dollar store, whatever. You just want to make sure that you're not putting any postage inside your book. You can't have any newspapers in your exams. So you definitely want to make sure that you're using the appropriate tabs when you're tabbing. So what I like to do, and I already did it before, I ripped out this page. It just makes it easier for going back and forth so you don't have to constantly flip back to the beginning of the page. And honestly, when you rip it off, that's fine because you're going to be using all the tabs and then you throw it away. So I always tell people, you want to get accustomed to the code book. If it's the first time that you're opening the ICD-10 code book, you want to familiarize yourself with the different sections, the table of contents, and you kind of get a view of that from the tabs, right? We have guidelines, instructions, symbols, anatomical illustration, alphabetical index, tabular list, and then we have A through D, and then the code. And then there's also blank ones that come with the book that's extra that you can use throughout wherever you see fit, and I'm going to show you as we go on. So we're going to start. We see the table of contents here, but the first one is G1. This is where the guidelines are going to be every year. And when you look on the top, you always want to make sure you're looking at the date. So as I mentioned, this is effective for dates of service October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. And if you're using the previous year, it's going to look like that. So we just want to keep in mind in case you're auditing any dates of service for a particular year that you're using the guidelines for those dates of service, right? So if I'm auditing dates of service in 2016, I can't use guidelines from 2003 because they were different. So you want to take out your first tab right here, which says guidelines. You want to take it, and then you want to just place it over here in the top right corner. I mean, you can place it wherever, but I like to always start here and then work my way through. Right, so we have your guidelines. So we know that this goes all the way through until G38. Right, these are the guidelines. Then we have the prefix, the list of features, right? So you can take off the instruction one right here, and you can put that right here if you want. But right after that page, we have the symbols and conventions. So right here, you can take off that tab. That's next. And then you want to place it right here as well. So you know this is where you come to find out what symbols and conventions are. And ever so often, I like to close the book just to make sure that my tabs are aligned and that they're not overlapping each other. Sometimes you, depending on how you tab your book, you may start to overlap a little bit, but for now, you just want to make sure that you can read and find exactly what you need to find. So we know right here, we have our guidelines, we have instructions, we have symbols. So on to the next one. After symbols, symbols ends on page 4 and anatomical illustration begins on page 5. So you just want to take your anatomical illustration and you want to take that tab off, and then you want to just place it down at the beginning. So in this section, we know we have different anatomical illustrations. We have the circulatory system, the digestive system, the ear anatomy. We also have the lymphatic system. All the systems are here. So what other people may like to do as well is put extra tabs. So depending on if you're working in a particular specialty, maybe you have notes in a particular section that you will have in your lifetime with, you can tab exactly that particular section so you know, besides the anatomical section, where to find your notes on that particular area. So let's say I made a whole bunch of notes by the nervous system. I'm going to make another tab. So this is where you can use a blank one and write something on here. And this is why some people may like to get the bigger ones because you can write more. When you use the other tabs, the colorful ones, it's also best that you use Sharpies because they tend not to rub off on your fingers. And so that's always good. So this is the anatomical section. Then on page 39 is the beginning of the alphabetical index. So you'll come here to your alphabetical index, and then you'll place it over here so that you know this is the beginning of the alphabetical index. So this is where you're going to come to find out what is going on with your patient, right? If they came in for a rash, you know you're going to start here at the alphabetical index. From that, we have the tabs A through Z that's here. So you would take out each one and put it at the beginning. You're going to go through the book when you have some time. So you're going to, you can take out A and put it. Then you're going to look to see where B begins. A ends and B begins on page 73. So you're going to take the B and then you're going to stick the B onto the book. So I know that every disease I'm looking for is that begins with a letter B, it's going to be over here in this section. And you're going to take some time and you're going to go through the book. As I mentioned, ever so often I like to close the book to see how are my tabs lining up. So one thing I would say is that some people, when they're tabbing their books, they may like to tab their anatomical sections on top. And then they'll like to put the tabular tabs over here. Because again, I mentioned it can be overwhelming with all the tabs. It's however you like to see your book, and whatever is easier for you to find the codes that you need to find. So you're going to take some time and you're going to code all the way from A through Z. You'll also note that some of them have the letters here, right? J through L. So that just means that those sections maybe are not as big as the other ones, but you know these are where the diseases J through L will live. So you'll find it here. So some of them U through V, W through V, same thing, right? So you can just put it at the beginning of W, and then you know W through V is going to lift it up. Okay. So at the end, and here is a blank page, so I like to write notes on my blank pages. So if you do, you also want to keep track of where your notes are. So you, again, can take one of these blank ones and put notes. So that while you're taking your test or whatever, you know where you put your notes, right? So the worst thing is to do is to write notes and you don't know where you put your notes. So the beginning of the neoplasm section is on page 363. So you would take the neoplasm tab, which I did already, and then you would stick it here. So you know this is where all the primary malignancy, secondary, unspecified, uncertain behavior, this is where the neoplasm section is. And at the end of the neoplasm section comes the beginning on page 375 in 2004 version is the table of drugs and chemicals. So you would also take out that tab and you will put it here so that you know this is where you're going to come to find the beginning of the drugs and chemicals. At the end of drugs and chemicals, because it goes all the way up to 422, the next page, 423, is the beginning of the external causes. So this is telling you how a patient got injured. What do they do? Right? Let's say a child swallowed a coin. A patient fell and tripped over a shopping cart. You would find that here. When you want to tab, so you know where to come to look for how a patient got injured. Then on the beginning of page 457, now starts the beginning of our tabular list section. So the tabular list, you're going to take the tab and you can put it here. So this is, you're going to start off when you see your patient. You're going to always look for the codes in the anatomical, in the alphabetical index first. And then you're going to confirm the codes in the tabular list. So just like we did with A through Z, the tabular section has the codes, C codes, D codes. So you're going to take one for each section and tab it all the way through Z. And you will also notice at the beginning of each section, the same guidelines that we have in the beginning. Each section now has the specific guidelines for that section right in the beginning before it starts. So for the letter A, right here, we know here are the specific guidelines for certain infectious and parasitic diseases. So like, let's say the patient has HIV or sepsis, these are the guidelines for that particular section. So in case you can't remember it and it's too much in the front, here you know for each one at the beginning, right? So this is clear. And then we know we have B that comes right after. So you're just going to want to take your B tab off, and then you're going to want to tap it. Right, and you're going to go all the way through Z. And this is how you get familiar with the book through as well, because you're tabbing as you go along. And then at the end of that, then we have some notes. Again, you have another area where you can write some more notes and know exactly what, and you can put one of the blank tabs so you know exactly where you put the notes. And then after that, on page 1347 is the beginning of our appendices or our appendix section. So you will take off the appendices tab and you will put that here. Right, and we know that's where we have it. And after that is additional blank pages in your book. At the end, all the way to the back, it's some more blank pages for notes. So let's say you write more notes. You take another one and you put your notes there. So if you have your notes in a particular section here for a specific disease or additional stuff you wrote about an anatomical site, you can put those here. And so this is how we have their ICD-10 program. So we didn't have PPCK, that'll be another one. But I hope this was helpful. And again, if you are using another version, let's say you're using the ICD-10 Optum book, you would go ahead and tab your book the same way, but just know each is laid out about similar, right? So the guidelines for here are in the beginning, and then you have your alphabetical index, external causes. So it's laid out the same, but we just want to kind of tag. The only thing is that this book does not come with tabs, so you won't have to fix it today. So I hope that was helpful. I thank you guys for joining today. I hope you enjoyed having your book. I hope it was helpful. And hope you guys have an amazing day and stay tuned for our next video. Bye.